We are 24 hours away for the kickoff to WrestleMania weekend, and you are looking live at downtown Austin, Texas, as we approach the Moody Center for the final Friday Night SmackDown of the 2K23 season. And coming up tonight in Austin, the Cruiserweight champion of the world, Ilja Dragunov, set to go one-on-one with one of his WrestleMania opponents, that being the whole shebang, Johnny Gargano. And of course, coming up tomorrow night at WrestleMania, Gunther will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre. But tonight, it is pick your poison. McIntyre chooses Gunther's opponent. Gunther chooses McIntyre's, live tonight on SmackDown. We welcome you inside the Moody Center here in Austin, Texas. And kicking things off in a strong way tonight is the man who has held the World Heavyweight Championship for a total of 103 days. The Ring General, Gunther, 24 hours before he main events WrestleMania, is live here on Friday Night SmackDown. But who's going to be his opponent? We find out next.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring, representing Imperium from Vienna, Austria, weighing in at 297 pounds, the World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther!
Gunther has dominated ever since making his SmackDown debut back in December of 2022. But right now, we take a look at when Gunther won the World Heavyweight title at Survivor Series. It is main event time in Madison Square Garden. The Scottish Warrior, this fire-breathing son of a bitch, the World Heavyweight Champion, Drew McIntyre. We are underway here at Survivor Series, and Gunther trying to come hot out of the gate with the drop kick as this World Championship main event has kicked off. Oh, wait a minute here. Gunther looking to repeat history from McIntyre's spoiled homecoming in Glasgow, Scotland. Power bomb through the announce table. We may be witnessing the dismantling of the Scottish Warrior live and in living color. And McIntyre in the corner, sense of urgency out of the champion. Claymore, no, Gunther! Moved out of the way, Claymore misses wildly. And it's a boot to the already bloody skull by Gunther, delivered to McIntyre. McIntyre's beaten, McIntyre's bloody, but is he broken? Gunther with a last symphony, and into the cover. It's over. A decisive statement-making victory. Tonight in Madison Square Garden, a legend was promised to be born, and so was that. The 267-day reign of the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre has come to an end, in a broken, absolutely beaten, bloody fashion by the bare hands of the man we now call the new World Heavyweight Champion. The Ring General Gunther has conquered Drew McIntyre and sits on the throne of the Kingdom on Friday Night SmackDown. November 19th, 2023, a day that has been replaying in the mind of Drew McIntyre ever since. Tomorrow night at WrestleMania, McIntyre gets a chance to conquer his demons, but the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther is not looking to let up on his stranglehold of that very championship gold. But tonight on SmackDown, it is Pick Your Poison. And it looks like Drew McIntyre has called upon the gods. The Viking Raiders approach ringside, but which one's gonna step up and fight the world champion?
And his opponent, representing the Viking Raiders from Valhalla, weighing in at 305 pounds, Ivar!
Well, there is some recent history between the Viking Raiders and Imperium. Remember back in the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Eric and Ivar took on Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. And of course, accompanying them on that night was the #1 contender for the World Championship, Drew McIntyre. Well, obviously some mutual respect between the Vikings and McIntyre himself. McIntyre knows firsthand just how tough Ivar is as they battled a few months back here on SmackDown. And now it looks like the behemoth at Ivar, the man selected to take on the World Heavyweight Champion just 24 hours before the Ring General main event WrestleMania Saturday. Obviously, later tonight, we will see Drew McIntyre in your main event. He will take on the opponent of Gunther's choosing. Gotta wonder if it's gonna be Giovanni Vinci or possibly Ludwig Kaiser, the men who always approach Gunther here at ringside. As this matchup kicks off, we want to thank you for joining us here in the Moody Center, Austin, Texas, on Friday Night SmackDown, the final SmackDown of the 2K23 season, and of course the final SmackDown before WrestleMania. It has been a long, illustrious road on the road to the grandest stage of them all, but it all comes to a head this weekend. It all kicks off tomorrow night, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, for WrestleMania Saturday, and of course the same goes for Sunday as well, live at 5 p.m. EST. We're not going to want to miss the grand finale to what has been an incredible last year, an incredible last season. So much riding on the line, and tensions have certainly been at an all-time high across all of WWE on Monday Night Raw, and even here on Friday Night SmackDown. Gunther's just got to worry about getting through Ivar tonight. Certainly a task easier said than done. He can't take nothing away from the ring general. Every time he steps foot in the ring, he is pretty much the favorite before the bell even sounds. Gunther, a man who's only suffered one loss since December of 2022 when he joined Friday Night SmackDown. Damn near untouchable inside of the squared circle. Ivar looking to do a number against the world champion tonight. And just imagine the confidence that could be ensued in Drew McIntyre if the ring general falls just 24 hours before WrestleMania. All, again, easier said than done as the World Heavyweight Champion, showing why he has dominated across Friday Night SmackDown, not just for the last 103 days as champion, but since December of 2022 when he first walked down the aisle. Ivar, worse for wear. Not very many people going to be able to pick up somebody the size of that behemoth in the Viking Raiders, but the ring general, obviously just a different breed. Gunther believes the mat is sacred. Has fought some of the best on those, in between those ropes. We've seen him take down the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar, the Rated R Superstar Edge, the one and only Ricochet. Remember during his reign as United States Champion, defeated the almighty Bobby Lashley, the Hall of Famer and Rey Mysterio, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Gunther has fought some of the best. He has beaten some of the best. And of course, as we just revisited moments ago, the win over Drew McIntyre, which kicked off the World Heavyweight Championship reign back at Survivor Series in November. A night that McIntyre has not forgotten about. He looks to right those wrongs tomorrow night at WrestleMania. Ivar, the big-time splash on the ring general, however, not enough to keep down the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, there's been many a times where we thought Gunther was down and out, or we thought Gunther was beat. But something about the ring general where he rises like a phoenix and just stops his opponent dead in their tracks. Gunther is just, as we mentioned, a different breed, a different animal. Undeniable inside of that ring. Some say the inevitable is the ring general Gunther. And Gunther just manhandling Ivar down to the canvas with that chokehold. Something that has done Gunther great dividends throughout his SmackDown career. And look at the big man trying to muscle out of it. He knows he was chosen by Drew McIntyre tonight out of pure respect. And Ivar looking to do one good by the Scottish Warrior. Oh man, look at Gunther. Look at the strength. And a complete animal inside of that ring. We may as well call Gunther the new beast incarnate around here on Friday Night SmackDown. Into the cover. And credit where it's due, Ivar hanging in there, but is he just delaying the inevitable? That is the question that is at hand. Or remains to be seen as Ivar muscles up the champion again. Look at this. Ivar continuing to fight. As long as his blood is moving, as long as his heart is pumping, he's gonna keep swinging, but that is what has made the world champion so strong. Gunther has had his back up against the wall many a times before, has been down and out, but still somehow reigns supreme. Missile dropkick that never gets any less impressive no matter how many times we see the champion institute it inside of that ring. Last Symphony! The maneuver that won Gunther the World Championship back at Survivor Series against Drew McIntyre. And it is the maneuver that brings Gunther victory tonight, 24 hours before he defends his championship on the grandest stage.
Here is your winner, Gunther!
Well, Ivar gave it his best, but Gunther is the inevitable here on Friday Night SmackDown. But tomorrow night at WrestleMania, when he defends the World Heavyweight Championship, will he be able to go 2 for 2 against his toughest match to date in the Scottish Warrior? Or will Drew McIntyre bounce back from that loss that has haunted him since November 19th, 2023? We're back live in the Moody Center in Austin, Texas, and all eyes head towards the Cruiserweight division on the road to WrestleMania.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Cleveland, Ohio, weighing in at 199 pounds, Johnny Gargano.
Tomorrow night in AT&T Stadium, the Cruiserweight Championship will be hoisted above the ring, and 6 superstars will duke it out in a ladder matchup to try to obtain that gold. Ilja Dragunov certainly has the odds stacked against him, but as he has held his title for 103 days, will tomorrow night be the expiration date on the grandest stage of them all? Nathan Frazier, Wes Lee, Axiom, JD McDonough, and this man, the whole shebang, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, all gunning for the same end goal, and that is the Cruiserweight Championship of the World that is currently held by the Mad Dragon himself. Well, these two men, no strangers to each other. They met in the Cruiserweight Classic finale back in October, the victory that led Ilja Dragunov to becoming the #1 contender for the gold that he now wears. Johnny Gargano very familiar with his opponent and looking for a monumentous victory before he gets his shot at the gold tomorrow night.
And his opponent from Moscow, Russia, weighing in at 187 pounds, the WWE Cruiserweight Champion, Ilja Dragunov.
The Invincible, the Czar, the Mad Dragon, the 2023 Breakout Superstar of the Year, Ilja Dragunov, graces us with his presence as he prepares for his greatest symphony yet tomorrow night. But as we mentioned, is WrestleMania Saturday the expiration date on what has been a very physically demanding Cruiserweight Championship reign for the Czar of Friday Night SmackDown? We have seen Dragunov go to war with JD McDonough not once but twice. Of course, the matchup with Santos Escobar back at Survivor Series, which kicked off this whole road for Ilja Dragunov. And as we have seen recently here on SmackDown, all of his challengers for WrestleMania Saturday not only gunning for one another, but gunning for the Mad Dragon. All roads lead to tomorrow night. The bell will sound and the best of them will climb that ladder to try to retrieve the gold. Well, all remains to be seen what's going to happen in AT&T Stadium, but tonight, the fight commences in Austin, Texas, as Johnny Gargano and Ilja Dragunov lock horns for the first time since the Cruiserweight Classic Tournament Finals. As we mentioned, those two men been in the ring with each other before. Johnny Gargano almost defeated Ilja Dragunov all the way back in October. Dragunov got the best of Gargano on that night in the Manhattan Center. That is the victory that led Dragunov on this whole road to coming to SmackDown and winning the Cruiserweight Championship. Johnny Gargano looking for his win back here tonight in Austin on the road to WrestleMania. But certainly a victory over Ilja Dragunov is something that does not come around without a physical war inside of that ring. The Mad Dragon walked into WrestleMania Saturday last year, a part of the Monday Night Raw roster. Defeated the man then known as the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne for the Intercontinental Championship. Held that title all the way to July, and then quickly entered the Cruiserweight Classic Tournament and again led him on this whole road that we witness now. There's a reason Dragunov was voted by you, the fans, the 2023 Breakout Superstar of the Year. He has made waves, whether it's been on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. Will Dragunov's reign at the proverbial top end tomorrow night by hands of one of these hungry challengers? Johnny Gargano, familiar with championship gold, he walked into WrestleMania last year as one half of the World Tag Team Champions. And although things may not have gone Gargano's way ever since getting traded to SmackDown last March, 1 year later, tomorrow night, the chance to turn it all around for the whole shebang! Tope suicida through the ropes, and those are the risks that Gargano has to be willing to take when we get to Dallas, Texas in 24 hours. I'll tell you what, man, it's a ladder matchup. It's 5 challengers. And although the odds may be stacked against the Cruiserweight Champion Ilja Dragunov, one thing that has been well documented throughout his reign is that the Mad Dragon thrives off punishment, thrives off pain. It seems that the more you beat him down inside of that ring, the more powerful he gets. It's damn near like a superhero inside of that ring. Ilja Dragunov, a tough man to keep down, but few have done it. And tomorrow night, with no pinfalls or submissions needed, it may be the golden opportunity to take the championship right out from under the nose of the Czar. Gargano and Dragunov giving it all they got here tonight on SmackDown. They realize the task that's at hand. Championship may not be on the line, but this is massive momentum and a huge confidence booster heading into WrestleMania Saturday. And Gargano with the rushing leg sweep. And tying up Ilja Dragunov, unfortunately too close to the ropes there. Gargano may be a veteran of the squared circle, but that was a naive maneuver by an overzealous challenger tomorrow night. I want to thank you for joining us once more on the final SmackDown of 2K23 season. Of course, I want to remind you that a whole new season begins after we get through WrestleMania tomorrow night and Sunday. All roads lead to Monday night, March the 11th. Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden. And just a few days later, Friday Night SmackDown is back March the 15th, the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. A whole new season begins in just a matter of weeks. But before we get to there, We got WrestleMania to worry about, and we got tonight on our hands, and the action isn't slowing down for anybody. Gargano with the corkscrew to the outside, and these two men putting on the same show that we saw back in October in their first collision. You know, I'm sure Johnny Gargano looks at this matchup tonight as a chance to quote-unquote get even with the Mad Dragon. It was that victory that Dragunov picked up in the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic that led him on to becoming the #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, an opportunity that Dragunov took advantage of 103 days ago at Survivor Series. That very well could have been Johnny Gargano's position had he got the best of the Mad Dragon just a few weeks prior. Can't go back and change the results, but you can change your future. Gargano looking to do it himself tonight. Ilya Dragunov with other plans as he tries to get back into this matchup. The ever vicious, the ever violent Mad Dragon himself with a couple of overhand shots. Johnny Gargano looking worse for wear. Come out looking like you were in a train wreck. Come out on the other side of a matchup with Ilya Dragunov. Now what, on the top rope? Dragunov looking for an exploder off the top. Massive maneuver. Damage certainly done. And Gargano with the shoulder up. Austin, Texas coming unglued 24 hours before these two men compete in a ladder matchup for the Cruiserweight Championship at WrestleMania. Dragunov pulling out all the stops, exploder from the top. Unfortunately for him, Johnny Gargano still with life left in him. Dragunov back to the outside. Gargano may have survived, but certainly is not thriving inside of that ring right now. Johnny Gargano's got to find a window of opportunity to get back into this, but the Mad Dragon not looking to close that gap. I don't know what Johnny Gargano's got in mind, trying to take a moment to breathe here as Ilya Dragunov drawing a line in the sand, saying get up and let's fight, but he may have given Johnny Wrestling too long to recover. Dragunov not one to fight a man from behind. He wants you face to face in the middle of the ring. Unfortunately, might have come back to bite him as Gargano with the tarantula, or at least something similar, locked in momentarily. Back and forth we go here. Now Gargano drop toe hold. Gargano escape, locked in on the Cruiserweight champion. Imagine if Dragunov taps out 24 hours before he defends the gold at the grandest stage of them all. The champion is in trouble. Johnny Gargano locked in tight with the submission hold on the Cesar. Oh, and a knee. Dragunov just fighting his way out of the submission hold by hook or by crook. This is wildly off the chop. Gargano springboard, tornado DDT. Johnny Wrestling could be nearing a massive victory. But it's not to be just yet. Dragunov with the shoulder up and the matchup rolls on. We have got a clinic here tonight in the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. This is Friday Night SmackDown, 24 hours before WrestleMania weekend begins. And still to come, Drew McIntyre competes in a pick your poison against an opponent of Gunther's choosing. Dragunov off the sidestep. Gargano out of the way. Game of cat and mouse between those two men, and Gargano going for the corkscrew. Dragunov lying in wait. And back inside the ring. A misstep by one of Dragunov's challengers tomorrow night. Dragunov had him scouted. Now Gargano down on the outside, and the Cruiserweight champion starting to stack the offense in the middle of the Friday Night SmackDown ring. Johnny Gargano, weary, getting to his feet. Full head of steam comes the champion. Elevation lariat, and Johnny Gargano, dazed, confused, and maybe knocked out for good off the lariat, into the cover. And Johnny Gargano still survives. Dragunov can't believe it. He thought he had the whole shebang, but Johnny Gargano still in this contest. Gargano knows what's at stake. He is not looking to see victory before he gets to WrestleMania Saturday tomorrow night. He's not looking to make the drive from Austin to Dallas on a sour note. The Cruiserweight champion into the corner, not by will but by force of one of his WrestleMania challengers. Slingshot into the turnbuckle. Gargano not going for the pinfall there. Wants to put the exclamation point on this match. Might have costed himself. Overzealous was Gargano as Dragunov with the takedown. Now the Cruiserweight champion sending Gargano into the corner, and a lifeless body now left on the canvas. Dragunov where he's most comfortable. Torpedo Moscow! Into the cover goes the Cruiserweight champion, and the reign of the Tsar lives on one day longer. The Cruiserweight champion of the world, Ilja Dragunov, continues to sit comfortably at the top of the Cruiserweight division. A victory tonight in battle, but will it be a victory in war against 5 challengers with ladders in play tomorrow night on WrestleMania Saturday?
Here is your winner, Ilja Dragunov.
Johnny Gargano giving it a fight tonight. And hopefully he can shake off the cobwebs and give it all he's got tomorrow. But the Mad Dragon, Ilja Dragunov, full head of steam, momentum at a high as he approaches a championship defense in 24 hours in Dallas, Texas. As one season comes to an end, a whole new one begins to blossom. And we kick off a new season with the best of the best from Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown live and in action. It all begins on Monday, March 11th, as Raw comes your way live from Madison Square Garden in New York City. And then SmackDown heads to the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. An all-new season in the WWE is coming your way, and you haven't seen anything yet. We are just 24 hours away from the kickoff to WrestleMania weekend. It is coming your way live Saturday night, March the 2nd, Sunday night, March the 3rd, both streaming live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow night, in the main event, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre, looks to win back the World Heavyweight Championship in a highly anticipated rematch against the Ring General Gunther. McIntyre earned this opportunity inside the Elimination Chamber, but is he ready to go to war once more with the Ring General? We saw the Mad Dragon, Ilja Dragunov, successful moments ago, but when the Cruiserweight Championship of the world is hanging high in the sky tomorrow night, will he be able to climb the ladder, or will it be one of his 5 challengers competing in this 6-man ladder war? The Intercontinental Championship from Monday Night Raw up for grabs as the defiant LA Knight puts the gold on the line against the #1 contender, Sami Zayn, who has been waiting for this opportunity since October the 31st of 2023. Also coming your way from Monday Night Raw, who is the true best in the world? The King of Pro Wrestling, CM Punk, versus the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura. These 2 men are going to put on a wrestling clinic, no doubt about it, tomorrow night in Dallas, Texas. This matchup is all about respect. The Rated R Superstar Edge looking to teach Braun Breaker a lesson in it. Meanwhile, the badass Braun Breaker looking for the biggest victory of his SmackDown career thus far. Who is going to get their wish? We find out tomorrow night on WrestleMania Saturday. It is Raw side of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Their winners, Jay and Jimmy Uso, taking on the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. first time ever matchup, and the World Tag Team titles will be on the line. And also for Monday Night Raw, the WWE Women's Championship is at stake when the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley, defends her title against Liv Morgan. Liv has been waiting for this rematch since the Royal Rumble. She earned it in a fatal 5-way, but can she get the job done against the Eradicator? And from Friday Night SmackDown, on WrestleMania Sunday, the Women's World title is going to be on the line. Raquel Rodriguez has continued to climb the ladder on the blue brand, but waiting for her at the top is the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. Who is the better woman? We find out on Sunday. And speaking of climbing the ladder, look no further than the future of Flight, the one and only Ricochet, who earned himself a United States Championship opportunity as the wins began to rack up. But can he turn away the challenge of the phenomenal AJ Styles? Some of Monday Night Raw's heavy hitters going to collide in a 6-man tag team matchup as Karrion Kross, the Sinister Joe Gacy, as well as Baron Corbin take on the Brawling Brutes, a matchup that sure is to be fisticuffs flying in AT&T Stadium. Absolutely no holds barred and nothing to lose between these two men as the Street Champ Solo Sikoa looks to finally put Bobby Lashley behind him and vice versa. Who will settle the score? We find out on Sunday night. It is SmackDown's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller taking on the Latino World Owner Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. Of course, the WWE Tag Team Champions to be crowned as well. The Apex Predator Randy Orton took away Cody Rhodes' opportunity to main event at the Showcase of the Immortals, something that Cody Rhodes has not forgotten, and he is not forgiving Randy Orton. He wants his payback cold and hard this Sunday night at WrestleMania. And in the main event of WrestleMania Sunday, the WWE Championship is on the line. The 2024 Royal Rumble match winner, Kevin Owens, takes on the Revolutionary, the Visionary, Seth freaking Rollins. That is coming your way WrestleMania Sunday, but it all begins tomorrow night, WrestleMania Saturday. Do not miss one moment of the action, streaming live all this weekend at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And after all that, before this season comes to a close, the final Friday Night SmackDown has got one more bell to sound. And what more fitting of a way to close out the season than with a man who waved the flag of the blue brand for the majority of 2023. The number one contender, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Ayr, Scotland, weighing in at 254 pounds, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
Earlier tonight, we saw how Gunther won the World Championship, but how did Drew McIntyre earn his number one contendership for WrestleMania? But it is now time to decide what the World Championship festivities will be at AT&T Stadium. And now McIntyre walks into familiar grounds. The matchup that started it all for McIntyre in 2023 is where it could all begin again in 2024. We are down to two men who were at odds throughout 2023 for the World Championship. Edge, Drew McIntyre, who will finish their story at WrestleMania. We got a flying Scottish Warrior. Crossbody off the pod. McIntyre goes to the corner. Miami has come unglued. Claymore kick. He's going to Mania. He's going to Mania. Not just yet. Edge kicks out. And now it's Edge into the pod. Oh, wait a minute. McIntyre again with a spear to Edge through the pod. McIntyre dragging the carcass away from the wreck into the cover. Drew McIntyre is going back to the dance. That was a war of all wars, and Drew McIntyre outlasted 5 of SmackDown's best. The Scottish Warrior is on his way back to the main event at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania! It is where it all began for Drew McIntyre 1 year ago, and will tomorrow night be where it all begins again for the Scottish Warrior. Oh man. Well, before McIntyre tries to wrestle away the world title at WrestleMania, he runs in to a Nigerian giant.
And his opponent from Lagos, Nigeria, weighing in at 400 pounds, the Nigerian Giant, Omos!
Well, Gunther has certainly chosen a formidable opponent for the #1 contender in Drew McIntyre. And you gotta believe that Gunther's thinking into this decision was having McIntyre walk into WrestleMania Saturday nowhere near 100%. You know, the interesting thing looking back at Survivor Series where Gunther and McIntyre met for the very first time is it was a destructive win for Gunther on that night. He tore apart Drew McIntyre, but why did he throw everything he had at McIntyre? That is because he knew, and he showed, that McIntyre was the toughest opponent that could have possibly taken down Gunther on that night. Gunther needed to tear down McIntyre because McIntyre has been that good throughout 2023. And now bleeding into 2024, McIntyre has began to rebuild himself on SmackDown. Victories here on the Blue brand, the win inside the Elimination Chamber that you just saw. But will the momentum bleed into WrestleMania tomorrow night? Or is it going to come to a screeching halt here in Austin, Texas by hands of the Nigerian Giant Omos? This is certainly not good for Drew McIntyre. He needs all the hopes and prayers he can get. As great as McIntyre is, we talked about Gunther earlier tonight. He is basically the inevitable here on SmackDown. Any match he enters, he's automatically the favorite. McIntyre needs a hope and a prayer tomorrow night at WrestleMania, and also needs all his wits about him. But running into the Nigerian Giant tonight could not be what McIntyre was hoping for. Nonetheless, McIntyre, the 2023 Superstar of the Year, did not earn that title voted by you, the fans, for any reason. McIntyre fought not just some of the best, but the absolute best throughout last year. We're talking names like AJ Styles, Austin Theory, the Rated R Superstar Edge, Braun Breaker, the Franchise, John Cena. McIntyre turned away challenges from Randy Orton, among others. And it was Gunther who took down the Scottish Warrior back at Survivor Series. As we mentioned, Gunther always the favorite anytime he steps foot inside of that ring, but you cannot discount Drew McIntyre tomorrow night. Back at WrestleMania Saturday, where it all began for McIntyre in 2023, defeating Seth Rollins last year for the World Heavyweight Championship and holding that title for 267 collective days. McIntyre, of course, repeating history already in 2024, winning the Elimination Chamber match for the second year in a row. Will McIntyre be able to ride that history and repeat it all over again tomorrow night against Gunther at WrestleMania? But it looks like McIntyre is focused on the task at hand as he begins to rise like a phoenix here in Austin, Texas. McIntyre cannot look through Omos tonight. He has got to realize what he is in the ring with. Just try to focus on the task at hand. Gunther is tomorrow. Omos is here, now, live and in living color. Omos controlling the early part of this matchup. Drew McIntyre, however, starting to come alive. Of course, once we say that, Omos with a massive shoulder block. Now the Nigerian Giant just looking to pick the bones of the Scottish Warrior here tonight. Soften up McIntyre. Feed him to the ring general at WrestleMania. Omos certainly proud of his own work. Oh man, what an overhead chop, and McIntyre! That's one way to knock the big man off his feet. Glasgow kiss. Into the cover. And Omos getting the shoulder up. The most well-documented sentence throughout Omos' career is it's one thing to knock him down, it's a whole nother thing to keep him there. McIntyre finds that out as the Glasgow kiss does not reward him victory. Omos trying to get to his feet. McIntyre knocks him down once more. Omos is still up, is still alive, and McIntyre soaring through the skies. The #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship will not be denied as he looks to break down Omos at ringside here on SmackDown. Can't get the victory out here, but can certainly do a number. Gotta pick your spots, however. These two behemoths on the ground here in the Moody Center, and Omos gets the best of it. Nigerian Giant sending McIntyre back inside the ring, but it's Drew McIntyre who's on his own 2 feet. Into the corner he goes. Claymore! Into the cover goes the #1 contender, and are we looking at the next World Heavyweight Champion? Drew McIntyre coming alive, but will he ride this momentum into tomorrow night when he meets Gunther for the World Heavyweight title?
Here is your winner, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre has replayed the moments of Survivor Series over the last 103 days, but tomorrow night, oh wait a minute! Gunther ambushing the #1 contender. An uncharacteristic assault, but Gunther realizes what he has to deal with tomorrow night. Last Symphony! The maneuver that pinned Drew McIntyre back at Survivor Series leaves McIntyre, at least momentarily, staring up at the lights. Gunther is not one, I'll bite, to attack his opponents from behind. But just like he did in the lead up to Survivor Series, he does on the road to WrestleMania. As he realizes the task at hand, a powerbomb to the #1 contender, Gunther trying to get an edge before tomorrow night. And now the announce table being cleared off. Gunther put McIntyre through the announce table back in November in McIntyre's homeland of Glasgow, Scotland. He did it again at Survivor Series 103 days ago. And 24 hours before the WrestleMania rematch, Gunther is looking for history to be repeated. Power bomb through the announce table by that cold-hearted son of a bitch. Drew McIntyre may be out, but do not discount the Scottish Warrior tomorrow night. The rematch, 103 days in the making. Gunther McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is live. It is at WrestleMania Saturday, tomorrow night.
same face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'm a ride.